Magandang araw po sa ating lahat. Mula po rito sa Cordon North District, ako po si Lexie Marie Campul, nasa ikawalong baitang ng Jadii Region High School. Ang Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela ay malaking tulong para po sa aming mga pag-aaral, lalo na po sa gitna nitong pandemya. Ito po ay nagsisilbing gabay upang mas lalo naming maintindihan ang aming mga aralin na nakasaad sa aming mga module sa pamamagitan ng pagtatalakay ng mga butihing guro sa Radyo Eskwela. Kaya, kami po ay lubos na nagpapasalamat sa lahat ng mga bumubuo sa Radyo Eskwela sa patuloy na pagtugon sa aming mga pangangailangan sa aming pag-aaral. Sa Radyo Eskwela sa Isabela, patuloy ang edukasyon.
You are listening to SDO Isabela Radio-Based Instruction.
Learning never stops in Math Eskwela, your school on air.
Your partner in achieving fun learning experiences. Let's listen, enjoy, and have fun in learning mathematics. Stay tuned.
Have a blessed day, my dear grade 8 learners. We are up again for another exciting and thrilling lesson in grade 8 mathematics. This is your school on air for Math Eskwela sa Isabela. We are happy to be with you through radio-based instruction. I am Ma'am Hazel Gregorio Manmano, your mathematics teacher for today. Buckle up for another fun of learning today. As we start our lesson, make sure that you are comfortably seated and can clearly hear this broadcast. Get your pen, paper, and learning materials. Anyway, are you ready for another matindi and matinik discussions for today?
Yes, ma'am.
I am very happy and glad for your positive reactions. I am very much sure that you have already conditioned yourself to learn something new today. As of the moment, we will focus our attention on illustrating experiment, outcome, sample space, and event. After listening to this episode, you are expected to define and illustrate experiment, outcome, sample space, and event, and give examples of its concepts related to probability. Prepare also extra sheet of papers so you could take down notes and perform alongside with me the different activities that I had prepared for you. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's begin. Before we proceed with our discussion for today, let us recapitulate on those important concepts that have been discussed during our last episode. How will you differentiate a parallel line with that of a perpendicular line? Yes, you're right. Parallel lines are two non-vertical lines in the same plane that never intersect, while perpendicular lines are two lines that intersect and form four right angles. How many conditions that guarantee that two lines are parallel? Exactly. There are 5 conditions that guarantee that two lines are parallel, and these are the following. The first one is, if two coplanar lines are both perpendicular to the same line, then they are parallel. The next condition will be the Aip Theorem, which states that if two lines have a transversal and a pair of congruent corresponding angles, then the lines are parallel. Our third condition will be the Aip Theorem. This theorem states that if two lines have a transversal and a pair of congruent alternate interior angles, then the lines are parallel. Our fourth condition is the Aep Theorem, which states that if two lines have a transversal and a pair of congruent alternate exterior angles, then the lines are parallel. And for our fifth and final condition, if two lines have a transversal and interior angles on the same side of the transversal are supplementary, then the lines are parallel. There you have it, my dear grade 8 learners. Now, it's your time to shine. Who among you would like to give the conditions that guarantee that two lines are perpendicular? Very well stated, my dear. Class, there are only two conditions that guarantee that two lines are perpendicular, and they are: first, if two lines are perpendicular to each other, then they form four right angles. And for our second condition, it states that if the angles in a linear pair are congruent, then the lines containing their sides are perpendicular. Were you able to recall all of those concepts now, class? I am very sure that you are now ready for our discussion this afternoon. Class, have you already experienced to go in a fair or feria? What are your purposes of going there? Yes, you're right. There are lots of reasons why people go in a fair. Some would go there for family bonding because it gives enjoyment specifically to the kids, where there are rides and some places them to play. Some would go there for gambling purposes and so on. Life has a lot of uncertainties. Oftentimes, our decisions in life are done under conditions of uncertainty. These are the probabilities of life. The branch of mathematics that deals with uncertainty is what we call probability. It is a measure of how likely an event will occur. The possible occurrence of an event can be characterized as impossible, very likely, unlikely, 50% chance, likely, very likely, or certain. Are you still with me, my dear grade 8 learners? Okay, let's continue. There are different important concepts that we should have to define and illustrate during our discussions this afternoon. Are you ready and excited to learn those concepts, class? What comes into your minds when you hear the word experiment? Absolutely correct. We associate it in our science classes, where we do experiment to find possible outcomes. In mathematics, specifically in probability, activities such as tossing or flipping a coin or rolling a die, which have well-defined results, are called experiments. An experiment is a process that has a number of distinct possible outcomes in which the result cannot be predicted with certainty. Any possible results of the experiment are called outcomes. Example: when you roll a balanced die once, there are 6 possible outcomes, which are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Our next concept is all about sample space. Who would like to give his or her own idea on the given term? Exactly. The sample space is a set of all the possible outcomes of an experiment. It is usually denoted by a capital letter S and the total number of possible outcomes by N of S. Each individual outcome is a sample point. Now, may I request you to get 2 coins and let us list the sample space after flipping them. Are you ready? How many possible elements of sample space will be possible? Excellent! There are 4 elements. Hence, the sample space is the set of HH or the head-head, HT, which is head and tail. Then we have TH, stands for tail and head. And lastly, tail, that is letter T and letter T. Any of those individual outcomes shall be considered a sample point, like H and H. Now let's continue our discussions. Who among you would like to give me all the possible outcomes for asking the birth month of all persons you have already met every day in your life? Very good. There are actually 12 possible outcomes, and these are the sets of January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, and December. Have you already understood the concept of sample space, class?
Yes, ma'am.
It is really good to hear your positive responses, my dear grade 8 learners. Before we go further, let us proceed to our second example a while back on rolling a balanced die once. Die in singular form and dice in plural form. Getting an even number includes 3 outcomes. These are 2, 4, and 6. Getting an even number is called an event. An event is a subset of a sample space. Did you fully understand all the concepts that we have discussed, class? If your answer is yes, then give yourself an Alain Junishak's clap. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Very good, very good. Congratulations! You did a great job. You really deserve for these applauses and cheers. Are you still with me, class?
Yes, ma'am.
It is good to hear your positive responses. Thank you for being so active while you listen to what I'm discussing with you. For better understanding of the lesson, let's have another example. But this time, I need your full cooperation so that the activity which will be given to you would become successful. Are you ready for the activity? Okay, let's begin. In an experiment of tossing 2 dice, how many elements are there in the sample space? I will give you 1 minute to do it. Your timer starts now. Okay, are you done with the given activity, class? Were you able to list all the possible outcomes with the experiment given to you? Class, how many possible outcomes when you toss 2 dice? Exactly. There are 36 possible outcomes on that given experiment. Would you mind to enumerate them? You really did a good job. They are 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, 1, 6, 2, 1, 2, 2, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5, 2, 6, 3, 1, 3, 2, 3, 3, 3, 4, 3, 5, 36, 41, 42, 43, 44. We have 45, 46, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, and lastly 66. But take note that if the sample points of the sample space are too many to enumerate, just give the number of sample points. For example, in an experiment of drawing a card from a deck of cards, there are 52 standard deck of cards. So, just give the number of sample points of the sample space and no need to enumerate all the possible outcomes if it is too many to be enumerated. Did you understand our lesson, class? That's great! Good to hear that! Now, let us consider another example to test whether you have really understood the lesson well. But this time, let us focus our attention on the concept of event. But before that, please prepare a 1/4 sheet of paper for you to write your answers. Are you ready, class? Now, open your learning activity sheets on page 57 and let us answer letter C from numbers 1 to 5. For those who doesn't have available learning activity sheets as of the moment, let me read it for you. Listen attentively for you to be able to get the correct answers. This is the problem. The digits 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9 are written on slips of paper, placed in a box and thoroughly mixed. One slip of paper is chosen at a random. Find the event and number of sample points if question number 1. The number drawn is between 1 and 9. Next, let's have number 2. The number drawn is odd and less than 9. Next, the number drawn is even and greater than 5. For the fourth question, the number drawn is a multiple of 4. And lastly, for number 5, the number drawn is prime. I will give you 2 minutes to write your answers on your answer sheets. Your timer starts now. Are you done, class? Okay, since you are already done with the activity, may I request you to check your own work and be honest in checking them. Now, who would like to give us the answer for number 1? You're correct. The answer is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And the number of sample space is 7. For number 2, The correct answer will be the set of 1, 3, 5, and 7. And it has a number of sample space which is equal to 4. Now, who among you will give his or her answer for the third given? Exactly. There are only 2 elements in the sample space, and these are elements 6 and 8. For numbers 4 and 5, these are the answers respectively. For number 4, 4 and 8 are the elements in the sample space, and the number of sample space is equal to 2. And lastly, number 5, we have elements 1, 3, 5, and 7, and it has a number of sample space which is equal to 4. Did you able to get all the answers correctly, class? Congratulations! That shows a clear manifestation that you have already understood our lesson well. To test whether you really understood all the concepts discussed today, let us have a simple recall by answering the questions that I'll be asking you. Is that clear, class? Are you ready? It is a branch of mathematics that deals with uncertainty. Excellent! The answer is probability. Who among you would like to define an experiment? Very good! An experiment is a process that has a number of distinct possible outcomes in which the result cannot be predicted with certainty. Would you mind to give me an example of an experiment? You're correct! Some examples of experiment are rolling a die, tossing or flipping a coin, drawing a card from a deck of cards, and any activities which will give a defined result. What do you call the set of all the possible outcomes of an experiment? Absolutely correct! It is called a sample space. And finally, what do you call a subset of a sample space? Very good! It is called an event. Class, I knew that you have learned a lot while listening to our episode for today. This time, let us assess your learning through a simple quiz. Please bring out another 1/4 sheet of paper for you to write your answers. Here is the instruction. Please write true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is incorrect. I repeat, please write true if the statement is correct and false if the statement is incorrect. Are you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's begin. For number 1, the branch of mathematics that deals with uncertainty is what we call probability. I repeat, for number 1, the branch of mathematics that deals with uncertainty is what we call probability. Now, let's proceed to the second statement. When Anna flips a coin, the possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I repeat for our second statement. When Anna flips a coin, the possible outcomes are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. For our third statement, Daniel rolls a die. One of the possible outcomes in the sample space is 7. I repeat, for our third statement, Daniel rolls a die. One of the possible outcomes in the sample space is 7. Now, let's proceed to the fourth statement. The set of all possible outcomes in an experiment is called sample space. I repeat for our fourth statement. The set of all the possible outcomes in an experiment is called sample space. And last but not the least, for number 5. Getting ahead in a single toss of coin is an example of an event. Lastly, for number 5, getting ahead in a single toss of coin is an example of an event. Now, let's reveal the correct answers and find out whether you get a perfect score. Are you excited, class? Now, let's begin. What is your answer in number 1? Very good. The correct answer is true. How about in number 2? You're correct. The answer is false. Who wants to give the answer for number 3? Exactly. The answer is false. Now, let's proceed to the statement number 4. What do you think will be the correct answer? Very good. The answer is true. Lastly, for the statement number 5, what will be the correct answer? You're correct. The answer is true. Who among you got a perfect score on your quiz? Excellent! I strongly believe that all of you got high scores on your quiz because you listened attentively during the discussions. And with that, I salute you and accept my warmest congratulations to all of you. And because of that, allow me to give you a warm of applause. It's been another fruitful discussions, my dear grade 8 learners. For now, let's call it a day. On behalf of our scriptwriter for today's episode, yours truly, and the SDO Isabela RBI Productions, I am your radio teacher for today, Mrs. Hazel Gregorio Manmano, thanking you for listening. Do not forget to always stay at home and follow all health protocols for your safety. Until the next episode, goodbye!
Sa Radyo Eskwela.
Patuloy ang edukasyon para sa ating henerasyon.
Sa daan ng pagkatuto ay walang may iwan.
Kaya halina sa Radyo Eskwela!